options for scales. What kind of minors? There are 3. Mabel, jump in here. Rock. Melodic is 1. Harmonic is 1. So everybody say major. Natural minor. Melodic minor. Harmonic minor. Everybody say it. Harmonic minor. You learn better if you hear yourself say it. Our own voice is our most powerful voice to our brains. If we hear ourselves say it, we believe it. If we hear ourselves say it, we learn it. Okay? So which one is this? Major. What kind of minor? Natural minor. Everybody say natural minor. Everybody, harmonic minor. Melodic minor. Mabel, can you try to remember the answer before we say it all together? Melodic minor. Okay. And then for chords, for triads, what are our 4 options? Diminished. What else, Mabel? Can you say major? Minor and? Something with an A. Augmented. Just the hint you needed. Thank you, Alma. Okay, so which one is this? Major. Minor. Diminished. Listen to the quality. Remember how it's kind of closed. Anxious. And then this one? Diminished was this one that was so closed. Augmented is the open one that wants to resolve. You should hear that motion. What about this? Minor. Oh, Christian. There's somebody in the chair and I thought maybe we had missed a pianist, but it's Christian waiting for his run. What's this one? Diminished. Is it happy, sad, anxious, or expanding? Minor, yeah, it's sad. Diminished. That would be diminished. Augmented. Everybody say augmented. Alright, let's see if you guys can get 4 of them. Ready? What's this? Diminished. Augmented. There we go. Okay, and we have a new ear training activity. If we listen to this, I want you to tell me, I'm going to ask you questions about what I play afterwards. So try to notice if you hear staccato or legato, if you hear dynamics, if it's loud or soft, is it fast or slow. Try to notice those things while I play. loud or soft?
Loud.
Loud. Okay, and then, oh, we have to do intervals, that's right. That's why there's a intervals. We have steps, seconds, skips, thirds, and jumps, fourths. Okay, which one is this? Second. Third. Which one is this? Fourth. Right. The fourth is here comes the bride. Which one is this? Second. Third. Fourth. Right, and then what would this be? Fifth. Our favorite. If you can hear the beginning of Twinkle in it, then it's a perfect fit. Okay, so anybody compose a jazz twinkle? You forgot yours at home. Do you remember it in your head? It's not memorized. You gonna do it next week then? Okay, Mabel, what about you? Do you want to practice it for next week? Okay. So Olivia sent hers, and I did try our new toy in the violin class, but I still don't know how to use it properly. So we will just use this today. There we go. Okay. So what did she do that made it different? Yeah, she made it minor, and then she added the little mordents. Da-da-dum-dum, da-da-dum-dum. And then Catherine sent a solo video for us today. Where did it go? It was there. Now they're all different. What is that? YouTube is really playing games with me today. There we go. So here's Catherine playing her solo.
What are you playing today?
From Belgium. Nicely done. So last week, what were we listening to? What style of music? Jazz. That's why we had a jazz jingle. So today though, we're not going to do a composer so much as a style. Part of jazz, or the history of jazz, is called stride piano. And stride piano is fun. It's amazing to listen to and really hard. I don't know why they did this to themselves. But this is Oscar Peterson, the jazz pianist, explaining what it is.
And you can show some of this, what I think are called stylistic trademarks of other pianists. What do we mean by the phrase the stride piano of Tatum?
The stride piano of Tatum, more people of that era, is the ability to play the background for yourself and make it work like a rhythm section.
So you're turning the piano into the bass,
As
the
opposed to
drums,
playing the rhythm section,
and the guitar.
you just hold the
That's
chord,
your rhythm
you
section.
punch it with the chord and play.
If you have a rhythm section, that's what you play.
The drummer is playing, the bass player is playing.
Yeah, how do I play?
So this way you want.
Yeah.
So you can hear how he does it really fast.
And is putting the rhythm section out of work.
But can you hear how? Let's listen to that again. Don't worry about what he's saying in between, but listen to the left hand and how it sounds like the drums, the bass, and the guitar all at once. And then he gives an example of how the pianist plays if he's playing with drums and bass and guitar. So the piano in that instance is just playing the melody like normal. And then he goes back and shows stride again, but he does it really fast, so let's just listen.
And you can show some of this, what I think are called stylistic trademarks of other pianists. What do we mean by the phrase the stride piano of Tatum?
The stride piano of Tatum, more people of that era, is the ability to play the background for yourself and make it work like a rhythm section. As opposed to when you play the rhythm section, where you just hold the chord usually, or punch it with the chord and play. Because the drummer is playing, the bass player is playing. So this way you want.
Yeah. So the right hand is really the instrument, and the left hand is putting the rhythm section out of work.
That's right.
Yeah.
See that?
Okay.
Okay, so the master of stride piano was Art Tatum. We can't see him playing, unfortunately, because it was too long ago. And actually, he had most of his career before anybody made any recordings of him. And then in 1933, I think, somebody kind of decided this was a priority to capture his playing, and he put out 200 albums of his playing, thankfully, because it would have been a shame to have lost this. So this is a little bit about Art Tatum. There's one swear word in here. Can we manage that? You can put your hands over your ears if you need to. But I can't be held responsible for how jazz musicians talk.
Players like James P. Johnson, Fats Waller, and Earl Hines had done, and racing past them, expanding boundaries of style, tempo, and invention beyond what anyone had previously imagined. His impact was enormous, on a level with Charlie Parker a decade later, but you don't have to take my word for it. Dizzy Gillespie said, "First you speak of Art Tatum, then you take a deep breath and speak of all other pianists." Fletcher Henderson said, after first hearing Tatum, "I am pretty sure that we are in the presence of one of the greatest talents you or I will ever hear." Count Basie said that Art Tatum is the eighth wonder of the world.
And these are all other
Dave Brubeck's
amazing jazz
there is as much chance of another
musicians
Tatum
to get to
showing
know.
up as there is of another Mozart. Teddy Wilson suggested putting all the pianists in a room and letting them play, then let Tatum play. Everyone else will sound like an amateur. Charlie Parker wished he could play the saxophone like Tatum's right hand. Kenny Barron said, "I have every record Tatum ever made. I try not to listen to them. If I did, I'd give up." Tatum's biographer James Lester wrote, "Tatum made musicians reconsider their definition of what was possible."
That's a pretty amazing
Art Tatum was
thing to
born in
say about
1910,
somebody.
the same year as Mary Lou Williams, in Toledo, Ohio. He was a child prodigy with perfect pitch. Although he later had some musical training, he was self-taught as a child, eventually developing a straight-fingered technique that was at odds with traditional training, yet produced spectacular results. Though it was rumored that he tried to copy double-tracked piano rolls, he
Don't even
denied
think
that
about it.
later. Like most innovators, I assume, Tatum probably had a genius level of intellect. A huge baseball fan, he reportedly had an encyclopedic knowledge of statistics. Certainly the way he played the piano suggests an ability to process information far greater than most people. As a teenager in 1927, he had his own radio show in Toledo, which was eventually broadcast nationwide. He was billed as Arthur Tatum, Toledo's blind pianist. Tatum was born with severe cataracts, which were aggravated by an assault later in life. That left him with only a tiny bit of vision in one eye. Tatum moved to New York in 1932. Jazz used to be presented more as a competitive event, like with battles of the bands. Stride pianists held cutting contests to try and show each other up. After one of these contests, James P. Johnson said, "When Tatum played T for Two that night, I guess that was the first time I ever heard it really played." Tatum said that Fats Waller was one of his primary influences. Fats was about 6 years older than Tatum. He acknowledged Tatum's eventual supremacy with a famous quote, said to an audience when Tatum walked into the club where he was playing. "Ladies and gentlemen, I just play the piano. Tonight, God is in the house." Tatum is best known as a solo pianist, and that was really the only format that allowed him free rein to change style, tempo, and key at will. He did lead a successful trio for a while in the 1940s, but it was not easy to keep up with him, as drummer Joe Jones pointed out by saying, "What could I add? I felt like setting my damn drums on fire." The
That's what
author
happens
Ben
when you
Green
don't play
wrote
with
that
the
Tatum
steady
attempted
beat.
to conceive a style that was based upon all styles. Tatum was criticized as well as revered for his style, which didn't follow a linear path of melodic invention, but was like a whirlwind of virtuosity that can leave a listener's ears spinning. A lot of pianists have praised his touch and tone. Chick Corea said Tatum is the only pianist I know of before Bill Evans who had that feather-like touch, even though he probably spent his early years playing on really bad instruments. Tatum could reputedly identify and avoid the bad notes on whatever piano he was playing. Mary Lou Williams said, "Tatum taught me how to hit my notes, how to control them without using pedals, and he showed me how to keep my fingers flat on the keys to get that clean tone."
Don't do that.
Tatum's playing in his last few years was extensively documented by Norman Granz, who we'll talk about soon. Starting in 1953, Granz recorded nearly 200 solo and group performances, which he then released on his Pablo record label. Here's Tatum's debut recording in 1933. This is the fourth recording of Tiger Rag that we've heard in this course. The first by the ODJB, and the second and third from Louis Armstrong, the first of which was also recorded in 1933. Tatum's virtuosity is mind-blowing, even to modern ears. Imagine what it was like to first hear this at the time.
So really try to imagine that you can see him playing in your head. Is that kind of fast? Can you imagine how fast his fingers was moving? You can kind of hear that left hand going boom, 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 boom. Makes me think of Bugs Bunny cartoons. Yeah. And he's all over the keyboard. And he goes way up high, way down low.
Here's Tatum's performance of Tiger Rag as recreated by a modern digital
here we
player
go.
piano.
Now you can. So basically, it takes the computer to do it again.
You recall that James P. Johnson said,
I really could not find any videos of anybody playing stride piano. This is really hard, but it's so much fun to listen to. Okay, now for our favorite portion of the class. Find my mistakes. What? I can't hear you. But first we need a picture. You just have to give me answers quickly enough that we have time to finish our curriculum for the day. All right. Rocky, be seated. So, we're starting in which clef? Bass clef. So are you going to hear high notes or low notes? Low notes. So what's in the key signature?
2 flats.
2 flats. And what's our time signature?
3/4.
3/4. So how many beats are you going to hear in each measure? 3. Maybe. Here's my beat. Stop, let's talk about it. Mabel, did you notice any mistakes? No? Somebody help her out. Brock, did you notice any mistakes? Yes, I played it in 4/4. I played 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That happens a lot. Alright, so now I promise I will play it in 3 beats. Listen for other mistakes. There were 2. Any ideas? Yes, I held that for 3 beats, so you can circle my rest. Brock, did you catch the other one?
No.
Okay, I'll play it again. Brock, did you notice?
You see the word on the second measure?
No.
No?
No. I played bum, 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 bum. really an E flat. Go ahead and circle that for us, Alma. Okay, now the next one. Are we in treble clef or bass clef?
I'm in trouble.
Treble clef. So you're gonna hear high notes or low notes? High notes. Okay, and what's our time signature?
4/4.
4/4. So we have 4 beats in a measure with Lindylock. And what do we have in the in the key signature? 2 sharps, F sharp and C sharp. So we're in the key of D. Did you hear a mistake?
Yeah.
Where?
The C.
The C, yes, it should have been a C sharp. Good listening. So now I'll fix it and go on. The ta.
So you forgot a rest.
I did worse than that. I forgot both rests. Okay, so now I'll play it correct. Okay? Alright, so Alma asked what all these little slash marks are down here. And they are potential rhythm. What's our time signature? 4/4. So how many beats do we need out of all these slash marks? 4. So we have to figure out how to add beams so that we have 4 beats in that measure. Yes. So we have the potential of TTs, we have the potential of ticka-tickas. Any ideas? Okay, so if I make them all TTs, does that give me 4 beats? Mm. Does that give me 4 beats?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, what about the second measure? Because I didn't. Because this is about adding beams. What beams can we add to the second measure? How many? Right. Oh, no? If I do 3, I only have 3 beats. So I could add 2. Right, and then have 2 ties. This one had other answers too. Like you could have 2 ties, a TT, and a ticka-ticka. Or a TT and 2 ties and a ticka-ticka. So if you were doing this at home and you came up with other answers, there are other answers. There are lots of ways to create a 4/4 time signature, or a 4/4 measure. have just enough time for some rhythmic dictation. But instead of papers, since we only have 3, we use these. Take one and pass it to me. Okay, so for rhythmic dictation, remember, we don't need to use the staff. You can just use slash marks like I did. So you can put your time signature of 4/4 in between the staves or above the stave or not on the stave. I can have a front row and a back row eraser. Okay? So remember, we don't bother to draw note heads even if we think we have time. It's not a good habit for learning rhythmic dictation. So if you want a ta, you just put 1 slash like that. And if you want a tt, you draw the 2 slashes with the beam. And if you want a sh, you do draw a real sh. There's no shortcut for that. Ready? Here's your first measure. What do you need when you're done? It doesn't have to be perfect. It's not art class. So say it in your head. Is that a ta or a tt? And then what's this? And then what's this? Good, and then what's last? Is that a ta or a tt? Bravo, now put your measure line. Okay, here's your next measure. Sorry. Does it start with a ta or a tt? Tt. And then. What's the last one, Mabel? Is this a ta or a tt? Good job, and now you need a measure line. Measure 3. And then what? It's not art class. Good, and then what? What do you need at the end, Rob? So, listen again. And then? How do you draw a sh? And then? And then? And now you need a measure line. And last measure. Ta or TT? You can beam them together, yeah. I wouldn't do all 8 together because that would be hard to read. But you can do 2 groups of 4 if you want.
Yeah, 2 options.
Huh?
Yeah, 3 options.
Right. T, 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 T. Go ahead and draw your 2 T's, Mabel. And what do you need at the end?
Double bar line.
Double bar line. Keep drawing 2 T's. Those are T's, Mabel. Can you make them T? You don't have to erase, just draw your B. T, 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 and then a double bar line. Oops, that's too many. Good. Now can everybody for practice go to a blank space and draw a ticka ticka? Anywhere there's room. A rhythmic dictation ticka ticka.
Yes, I do. I just got it.
Without note heads. Yes. Make sure that your lines don't run into each other though. I know. That's the art class challenge. How do you draw a ticka ticka, Mabel? It's a TT. You don't have to erase, just add to it. How many notes are in a ticka ticka? How many? Ticka ticka. 4. Can you see how Alma drew hers? It's just when I use it in dictation, it always seems to be a shock. And then you need a second line. There we go, good job. Okay, please erase your boards. And put your lids on and turn your materials in. Thank you. Thank you. And toes together, and we say,
Thank you for teaching.
thank you for learning. So next week, I want to hear some jazz twink